first things first, welcome to the number one first ever Nowhere Bookshop event. So a very special welcome to my very special guest, Samantha Irby. Let me tell you all about her, which you probably already know all about her because you just read her fucking book. But just in case you haven't yet, no judgment. I know everybody is a little slow right now because time has stopped working in the last 2 months. So her blog is Bitches Gotta Eat. That's how I first came across her and fell in love with her. Then she had another book called Meaty, where basically I decided that I would stalk her forever, but silently, and just from the safety of my own house. And then she had We Were Never Meeting in Real Life, and she had a New Year, same shit. And then she's got a lot going on. And then she wrote, wow, no, thank you, which is so good. And I was literally so excited about it that like when I got the galley, like every other book that we have picked for the book club, I spend like a week before kind of reading all these books and going like, which one's the best, this was the only one that I was like, I don't know what month this comes out, but this is that month. So good job, and thank you for writing this.
Jenny, this is too nice. I don't know how to take compliments like a normal, well-adjusted person. So it's too nice. Thank you for having me. I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm the first. I'm going to set the bar very low for everyone who's coming after me. That's a skill that I have, is just putting the bar right on the floor, so then I help everybody else look better in comparison.
I love that. And I am just thinking of this as like, you know, when you start listening to a podcast and it's been going on for like years, and then they say, you can go and listen to some of our first ones, but we didn't know what we were doing. That's kind of what I'm assuming this is going to be. So it's okay if we fuck it up. That's the way I'm going to look at it.
Great.
Okay, good.
Great. That's written into every one of my contracts. It has to be okay if she fucks it up.
Oh, that's so good. It actually makes it better, I think, because then I can write about it, and I assume same for you. So, which actually, you know what, I think would be really funny if we both had like a weird thing happen to us and we both wrote about it. I wonder if we would write about it in any way the same way. I bet we wouldn't.
Right. We should, I mean, if this was the before times, I would say that we should like have some kind of joint experience and then write about it together. I guess we'll have to put it off for like 2 years until we get a vaccine and can touch people who don't live in our homes. But once we are in the after times, we should do a thing and then write about it separately and then kind of like mash it together somehow.
Oh my God, let's totally do that.
Okay.
We'll go on like a weekend road trip to haunted houses or something.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I will sit in the car while you do the haunted house, and then we'll like talk about it and process it, and then we'll write about what you experienced and how scared I was just sitting in the car.
But not like a scary haunted house, like a for real haunted house, like abandoned, like old abandoned, like we break in, we shatter a window, we climb in.
Break in?
Yes, you can't get into those abandoned places. They don't just let you in. You always have to break in.
But then we'll end up in a haunted jail.
Just do a breaking and entering with me. I'm not asking for much. We have 2 years to save up bail money.
What state? We have to do it in a state with like lenient laws.
Yeah, probably not Texas.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm not coming to fucking Texas to break into shit.
How about Wisconsin? I've never been to Wisconsin.
Great. I can be there in 3 hours.
Okay. Wisconsin it is. 2 years from now, we're breaking and entering into a haunted, abandoned home. Okay, I'm very excited.
Yeah, right.
I'm also going to forget this, so you have to remind me in 2 years.
I got it. It's locked. It's locked in.
Yay. Okay, so every Fantastic Strangelings Book Club, we do a Q&A, and there's always 5 weird questions that I ask every author. So far, they have all actually answered them, which is a little shocking because I really thought, some of them are real serious, and I really thought they would be like, yeah, fuck you.
What if I'm like the first diva and I'm like, actually...
That would be awesome.
I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you thought. No, not doing it.
You literally can do no wrong here. That's the thing. Like you could like flip the table, and I would be like, y'all, this was the best book club ever. So it's fine.
Great.
Okay, let's see.
Great.
So, what is the first question? I'm not going to ask these in order because I just like wrote them down on my notepad, and I don't.
Okay.
Okay. 2 weeks into the zombie eclipse, where would you be?
Oh, dead. Because if there was a zombie apocalypse, I would walk outside to wherever the zombies were and beg them to kill me first.
Oh my God.
I don't understand, and this is probably a stupid fucking thing to say in a pandemic, but whatever. I do not understand the desire to like hoard things and be the last person alive. I don't want to be the last person alive. I want to be dead while I still have like phone service and like a stomach full of food. I do not want to be, you do like I Am Legend. I don't want to roam the vacant earth alone with a dog. Kill me the first day. We went to the theater to see A Quiet Place. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh, yeah, that.
And I was like, if this was me, it wouldn't be no fucking movie, because the minute I knew, I would go outside with a fucking bullhorn and just be like, meh, 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 and have them eat me immediately. Yes. Kill me first.
Yes.
Give me the flesh-eating disease. Kill me. Kill me.
There's always that that time when like everybody's trapped and they're just like, oh, now we're all gonna die, and then that one person is like, I guess I'll sacrifice myself. Like I will wait long enough that I need to sacrifice myself because I want to be remembered. But it's got to be within the first 7 hours, because as soon as my battery is gone on my phone, I'm like, I'm bored.
Yes.
I can't Instagram this. No.
Yeah. I can't deal with the anxiety of squeezing my grocery cart through a too full Target aisle. I don't know how I would maintain the constant anxiety of waiting to die by the claws of some unknown entity. I don't know how to do that, and I wouldn't do that.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I love you.
Kill me.
All right, so first question, you pass. There's not really pass or fail, but it's
okay.
It's obvious that we're friends.
Okay.
Let's see. The second question is, what underrated book should we all read?
Oh my God. This is a tough question, because first you have to talk about a book that's underrated. You have to insult someone by being like, I know everybody hated on your stupid fucking book, but I loved it. Oh my God. Underrated. Okay. This is so stupid, but it's the first thing that came to mind. So you know how when people talk about Stephen King's books, no one ever talks about Needful Things. It's one of his not talked about books. Yeah. It's so good and bad, but good. I loved it. So Needful Things by Stephen King.
That is awesome. Very good answer. Also, did you ever used to watch, there was this TV show that came on, let's see, what I think I'm like 7 years older than you, so you may not have been old enough for this because I think I was in junior high when I would stay up to watch it. But it was Friday the Unlucky Number, but it was the actual unlucky number, but I don't say that number. But it was about the store, and they were going out and they were finding the cursed objects and bringing them back. And oh my gosh, I loved that. And I always thought like they should have given a hat tip to Stephen King because
it
feels the same.
I mean, that was his story. And I love a compromising situation like that where like, hold on one second. Kirsten, can you turn the light on? Thank you. I just had to have my wife turn on the light because I will, it's going to get dark here soon. And then people will be like, what the fuck is that piece of dust Jenny's talking to? Okay. I like that book because I love imagining what I would want from the devil.
Mm-hmm. What would you want?
I mean, it changes every day, but you know, today I would like sell my soul for like a bucket of movie theater popcorn.
Oh yeah. I'm writing down that question. That's going to be one of my new questions. What do you want from the devil?
Oh my, I am going to start crying.
It's so good. It sounds like I'm going out for pizza and I'm like, hey, what do you want from the devil? Anything? Anything? Okay, because I'm going to see him.
Bring me back a new face, longer hair, and $10,000. Thanks.
I'll tell you what, if you want longer hair, you just buy one of these fake hair things. My daughter is so funny because she keeps saying like, you're not supposed to show this. It's so good. Oh, it's $9. You just put it on. It's so good.
That's an incredible invention. I would not have known. I can't believe you're sharing it with us.
It is exactly the opposite of what you're supposed to do when you have fake hair. Is
right. You're supposed to hide it and like blend it and put powder on. I know it's a whole thing.
Yeah. Not me.
That's
Let's
incredible.
See. What is underrated book? Okay, what is your absolute favorite word in the whole world?
Oh my God. What is my favorite word in the whole world? I mean, damp.
That's a really good word because it's not moist.
Yeah, but you get the same icky feeling.
Yeah.
But like damp, damp's one of those words that you hear it and your hands immediately, you're like, oh, ugh, damp. I like a disconcerting kind of word.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love to cuss. Like, you know, I love to say bitch once a sentence, maybe twice. But like favorite words, like damp. Yeah.
Damp is so good. Do you know when you read like the old Victorian books, like Alice in Wonderland, or I'm trying to think of another one. I think Edgar Allan Poe talks about it, and they talk about you shouldn't eat too much damp cake because it'll make you sick. And I always wondered, like, what does that mean? What's a damp cake?
If I heard that, now please understand that I only graduated high school and I did not pay attention. But if I heard that anytime a cake is like too wet, I think like it's going moldy. Don't things get wet as they mold?
I bet that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. It's like a euphemism for shit and neither of us is smart enough to know.
Right. I mean, there's 8,000 people in the chat going, these fucking idiots.
Yeah, they're like, tuning out, morons.
Don't you know damn cake means vagina? I mean, it should.
That's what mine is going to be called from now until the end of time.
It's fantastic.
Come in here and get a piece of this damn cake.
So good. Your wife runs in. What? What's going on?
She comes in with a fork and a knife, and I'm like, no, not those.
It's a horror story. What? That would actually be a really good Stephen King story, though. I mean,
do you know? Call him. Between the two of us, we have to have a way to get a hold of him.
I do know his son, so
girl, that's like knowing him, the one he writes with.
Yes,
but
I only know him online. Like, we're just like online. We know each other. I've never met him.
That's the same. I mean,
it feels the same.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's the same. Like when people are like, "Oh, you don't really know that person from online." It's like I've seen every picture they've posted for the last 4 years, and I know their kids' names, and I can figure out their birthday.
I know that their cat has a UTI right now. Like, I know everything. Yeah.
Yes.
Victor, I'll be like upset about something, and Victor will be like, what's going on? What's wrong? And I'm like, one of my friends is really sad because this thing happened and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, is this a real friend or an internet friend? And I'm like, it's a real friend who's on the internet. And he's like, really? What do they look like? And I'm like, I don't know. Their avatar is a dolphin, but I know everything about them. They're probably not a dolphin, but I know everything else.
What if like it's like a dolphin, like, you know, like that was supposed to be like flippers. Jenny, I'm sad.
Oh my God, I love that so much. Did you ever hear about that lady who lived with the dolphin? Like, she had a bed.
Bitch, no, shut up.
Yeah, and she like did
things shit like that.
She did things with the dolphin. She did things like things. And apparently dolphins are very horny, so he was into it.
Okay, have you read the book Made for Love by Alyssa Nutting?
No.
Jenny, that's a you book if there ever was one.
Writing it down.
Everyone watching, please read Made for Love by Alyssa Nutting. But in addition to like blow up dolls and trailers and mind melding, there is a man who falls in love with a dolphin. And the book is so funny.
Wait, is it a true story? Is it like...
Girl, no, but...
Because I watch those documentaries and people do fall in love with, like, I saw this girl fucking the Ferris, no, not the Ferris, what was it? The Eiffel Tower. She was like, we're married now. And she had sex with it. So dolphin is not that big of a jump, I think. We've gotten off track. Wait, I should go back to my questions.
Let's do it.
Okay, how do you like your eggs?
Well, now this is going to be controversial. Okay. I love a frittata, and it has to be like cooked firm, but I don't love eggs. So if I eat them, they must be scrambled hard so that they feel like something else. There are a few things texturally. Eggs, I cannot eat a runny, slimy egg. Can't do it. I also can't fuck with grapes, the grape texture. I don't know, but like I'll eat tapioca. I don't know. I'm an enigma wrapped in a riddle. What can I say? But if I am forced, either hard-boiled, I'll eat hard-boiled eggs or scrambled hard.
So what's the difference between a frittata and an omelet? Is that the same thing?
No, well, no, a frittata is like, you know, all the stuff in an omelet in a pan, and then you pour the egg over it, and then you kind of bake it like a little like pie or flat egg pizza.
So like a
quiche. Someone in the chat said frittata is like a quiche with no crust. Thank you for being smarter than me. That it's like that. And then your next question is, what's a quiche?
Do you know what damp cake is?
Yeah, smarty pants.
Maybe that's what a frittata is. Could be. Let's see. The next question is, it's actually the last question of the weird 5 is, will you be my friend?
Yes, forever.
Okay, awesome.
You already knew that.
Well,
I mean, aren't we already friends?
I mean, I think we are, but I have this thing where, like, say if somebody doesn't respond to me in a text or something, that I'm like, they hate me. They absolutely hate
Oh my
me.
God, remember how I took like 6 weeks to email you back and you were like, what the fuck? And
And I
I was
was
like,
quiet for the whole 6 weeks. I was like, I just won't say anything. Every day I'd open the email, I'd be like, yep, nope, yep. I think she hates me. Either she hates me or she didn't get it. Should I ask if she didn't get it? But if she didn't get it, maybe it's because I'm blocked. I get blocked on Facebook
here's
a lot
what
too.
happens.
Uh-huh.
I'll read an email on my phone, and this is like middle-age disease. I'll read an email on my phone, be like, oh, that look, Jenny said something to me. Yes, I would take a bullet for her. I'll do anything for her. Yes. And then I read it and I go, when I get to the computer and I don't have to worry about my giant comically big thumbs messing up this message to her, then I'll write her a real response. And then I open the email on my computer and it just, 6 days later and I have forgotten about it. Guaranteed, that's it. I'm like, oh, cute. Oh my God, look at this. She's so funny. I love her so much. And then I probably like went to your Instagram and was like, oh my God, look at Dorothy Barker. And like did all that shit, like read a chapter of your book and like called your house and flew on a plane to you. And then by the time I get back and look at the email on my computer, I'm like, oh, I obviously responded, right? And then it's like, no, there's the follow-up email being like, hello? And I'm like, oh shit. And then again, I'm like, go turn on the computer. It's right over there. Go get it. And then, it's 2 more weeks later.
Well, I love it.
Oh
And I'm going
yes,
to
we
continue to
are
replay
friends
this.
forever. You're stuck
Okay,
with
good.
me, but I will always respond 2 weeks later than late.
That's totally fine because I actually do exactly the same thing.
Okay.
So
Okay,
that
great.
completely works. In fact, you had sent me an email, I think 2 weeks ago, and I literally just a minute ago just responded and said, see you soon, which didn't have anything to do with the email at all, but I just saw it. I was like, fuck, I gotta send that out.
In full transparency mode, I saw that email from you and was like, oh shit, I'm late. Like I'm late logging in. I was like, what time was I supposed to turn the computer on? Immediate panic. I didn't even think, damn, she took a long time. I was like, oh my God, what did I fuck up?
I love it. I did that on purpose, obviously.
Yeah,
Obviously.
Good.
So,
Keep me on my toes.
I do what I can. So, okay, so I loved this book so much. And there was so like I'm a bad book person because I dog ear the pages, and this is why nobody sends me copies. But every time that I would laugh, I would dog ear it, so it's constant. But my favorite chapter was Hello 911. And I was sitting outside laughing out loud, and like neighbors would walk by and just stare at me like, is she coughing? Is she sick? I don't know.
Oh, that's real.
That was my favorite. So it was so good. So what's your favorite part of this book?
I really loved, I mean, not just because you said it, but I really love Hello 911 because, and you, I know, can relate, but finding a way to write about your various mental illnesses in a way that, I try not to do treacly or, and I'm also not going to do research, right? Like I'm not going to go find the history of anxiety and depression and write a term paper. I'm not doing that. So then I'm like, how can I write about this in a way that's not, that I don't have to Google shit. I'm not Googling a fucking thing. I'm not a fact checker. I'm not Googling anything or without it being too sentimental. And then I was just thinking like, I want to write about the experience of what gives me anxiety. And I'm always trying to like connect with people. And I'm like, oh, I know what people can relate to, these everyday instances where you are seized by, you know, your shoulders go into your ears and you're seized by this, and maybe you don't even know that that's what anxiety is. So then it felt very freeing to like write about those. I think that tied with, are you familiar with my work, which is about trying to make a new friend and humiliating myself.
So good. It's so good.
Yeah, I think those two are my favorites.
Oh
Those
God.
are my special children.
Ugh, I love it. I love it. It's so relatable. Like, it's funny, like, I mean, a lot of this stuff I relate to because I'm like, oh, I've got it, you know, arthritis and depression and like all that stuff. And then you write about other stuff and I'm like, well, it has nothing to do with me, but it's still, you make it so relatable. So really good job.
Thanks.
So you're supposed to be like on a real book tour, but instead you're virtual book tour. And I think I will probably end up being doing that because my guess is next year it's still going to be just as bad. So tell me, like, is it better? Is it worse?
Oh my God. Okay. It's better.
Yeah.
Because, and you'll know, first of all, you're in your house, you're seeing my like painting behind me. You don't see what's on the bottom. Oh my God, I have like a stain on my sweatshirt and cat hair, but you can wear what you want without like, okay, let me say this. The last time I went on tour, I was on tour for 2 months, and no one ever talks about how it's just you wearing dirty clothes across the country, which is disgusting, and everyone's like hugging your sweaty clothes. But also, last time I did this show and I was on a stage and I had flip-flops on, and a woman sitting at like toe level kept taking pictures like from that very unflattering angle, and then she tagged me in them, and
Oh, no.
I was like, what is more humiliating? I'm like, bitch, what the fuck are you doing? Like, first of all, post it if you want, you weird fuck, but also like, don't tag me. Like, don't tag me in my swollen ankle shame. Like, just keep that for you. Keep that little treat for you. So not being on a real tour, I don't have those things happening, but I will say, I do, like, the people who come out to see me are all like so great. And I love like hugging everybody. And, you know, I love praise.
Of course.
Nothing is better than being in a room full of people who want to hug you and tell you how much they love you. So I do miss that part, but like all the things that make me anxious, traveling, airports, planes, getting to things on time, making sure you wake up, like all that kind of stress induced, what to wear that will actually look good when people post 100 pictures of you on Twitter. That part I'm happy to skip. I'd do one of these a night. Like if I could talk to somebody who I love, like you, every night while other people, you know, put questions in a box. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. This is incredible. All I need is Wi-Fi. Great, let's do it.
I love it. Let's have a plague every year.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. That's fine.
I can't wait to do this.
Okay,
I'm gonna do this for you on your tour. I'm gonna ask you 5 weird questions and talk a bunch of shit, and it's gonna be great.
Love it. I love it. Okay, so we only have like a minute before Elizabeth's going to come on, and and they're going to do like a Q&A kind of thing. But before we do that, here's what I think we should do. I think that we should just look super adorable for like 5 seconds straight, so that if people want to turn their camera around and like take selfies with us. So, because that's what would have been happening is people would have been like, can I have a picture with you? So, so I think for 5 seconds, we should just sit and look adorable and people can take pictures next to us. Okay, so I think Elizabeth is going to come on, and I think she has questions for us. Maybe, fingers crossed. And Elizabeth is actually at Nowhere Bookshop, which I haven't left my house in 2 months, so I don't know what it looks like, but there it is. And there's Elizabeth.
Hi, everyone. Look, we have books on the shelves.
Yeah.
What happened to just be Samantha's books.
Thank you.
Yeah, it worked out well.
For that product placement.
I do what I can.
Incredible.
All right, well, thank you guys for that. We've had lots of questions come in and more are coming in, and I'm trying to keep up. But the first question I have for both of you is, what are your pandemic coping strategies?
Oh, you want to go first, Sam?
Yep. Food and TV shows. Are we allowed to keep it real and say, I mean, I wish I was the kind of person who could be like meditation and prayer, but no, I fucking eat pimento cheese and Tate's gluten-free cookies and watch a lot of shit on CBS All Access of all the streaming providers, and it's been great.
Oh my God. Okay, well, my coping mechanism is rum, brought to you by rum. And this rum is, because all I have is just whatever's left in the liquor cabinet, which is almost nothing. So this is a rum that is made by Kenny Chesney, the country singer. The clearance sticker.
You mean Renee Zellweger's ex-husband?
That is literally exactly who I'm talking about. He made this rum, and that's what is getting me through. He didn't make it just for me. I mean, like, it's anybody can get it if you want to spend $20 for many shots of terrible rum. And then the other thing is I am planting things. But I don't know how to plant things, but I saw everybody else was like, y'all, we're gonna die, there's not gonna be any food left. So I opened up a cantaloupe and I took out all the seeds and I just like threw it onto the ground, and it's growing. And
what's growing?
Some green stuff. I mean, not a cantaloupe, but it could just be a weed. It is possible it's a weed. But every day I go out and I look at it, and Victor's like, you're just watching grass grow. And I'm like, it's like I'm a small god. So that's it.
Those are good ones.
Oh my God.
I also like the idea of Kenny Chesney personally making you a bottle of rum too.
No.
Like in his house, like, I don't know, hammer rum, but it's fine.
Turn it? I don't know.
Okay, so any bizarre quarantine dreams from either of you?
No, I mean, I have pretty vivid dreams every night, which is like a curse, but none quarantine related. Well, I don't know, maybe a few nights ago that I was trapped in a crowded train station. And so maybe there's like a deeper meaning there. Luckily, I'm not smart enough to figure out the deep meaning of anything. So do with that what you will. Crowded train station. Yes, surrounded by people. Like maybe that was like my inner desire to be with people again.
I haven't had any of the quarantine dreams that people talk about, but what I have had is the weird time shift where, like, at first it seemed like days went on forever, and now, like, Haley she has a singing lesson once a week for an hour, and it's on Zoom. And I have a little alarm that goes off on my phone that says, don't forget to tell Haley to go take her singing lesson. And it came on, and I was like, no, she literally had her singing lesson 2 days ago. There's absolutely no way. And it had been a week. I had to go back and like look at my photos that I had taken, because I was like, there's no way, it's been a week. And that's happened like 3 weeks in a row. It's like the opposite. Like once I had one of those, it was like a pot cookie, but it was like a pot biscotti, but I didn't know it was, so I had too much of it because I didn't realize that it was laced, and time stopped. Like literally time stopped, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna die here in this second. And it feels like it's just the opposite.
One of the chat members said they had a dream about Tom Hiddleston pole dancing. So I don't know if that's quarantine related, but it sounds like a nice dream. Good for you. That's funny. So for Sam, is this how you pictured 40 when you were 20?
Well, yeah, I mean, well, no, I did not think that I would be married to a lady with 2 old children. They're not old, they're teens, but no, I definitely thought that somehow I was gonna like luck my way into like a fancy downtown apartment like I didn't have to pay for. I did not imagine being in this crumbling farmhouse in Southwest Michigan. So, no. And like, you know, there's still time for me to snag somebody with a cool apartment. Don't give up hope. Don't give up hope yet.
40s, 20. Okay, this is for both of you, I assume. Somebody's cat is bored. You're like cat dancer and the laser pointer, and those aren't working anymore. How do you entertain your cat in quarantine?
Oh, well, we have this, I mean, this is like so cat lady, I want to die, but we are, one of our cats is really into these things called skitter critters that she chases and bats around. Their little tiny, Jenny, don't write that down.
I'm literally writing it down.
They're little tiny catnip mice, and she is obsessed. She carries them around. That, and our cats are big fans of the flyers, you know, the long wand with the feathers at the end that fly through the air. I am going to stop embarrassing myself right now.
Well, I want to say it's on Amazon Prime, but I could be wrong, but I think it's on Amazon Prime, it's TV for cats, and I think it's called, like, you look it up, and I'll put it onto the TV, like I'll have Victor do it, I don't know how to do it, but have it to where the TV goes on, and it'll show the computer screen, and then I put on TV for cats, and it's just like, it's birds, and it looks really boring, but oh my God, the Ferris Bueller is the only one. He loves it. He'll get right up there and he will hit against the TV, and furries can't see it. Like, you know, some cats can see and some cats can't. And the other cats are just like, what is happening? But Ferris Bueller's like, are you guys seeing this? Are y'all seeing this? And they're like, no, which I think is entertaining.
Oh my God.
I feel like I would just like find my 7-year-old just staring at the TV. That would be disturbing. I'll look it up. Okay, so for Sam, one of our club members wants to know if you're haunting her, and I'm gonna have to read this question off of my email. I feel like I had a semi-spooky paranormal experience with this book. I was reading this before bed while also thinking about a humor piece I had just submitted to a comedy site and wondering if people would find it offensive. In my dream that night, Samantha Irby showed up and says, of course people will find it offensive. Have you met the internet? So we're woke. Write the F up. Write the fuck up. That's okay. Like, what just happened? So by any chance, did Sam have a dream about showing up in some strange white lady's bedroom last Thursday? This one, I don't.
I didn't. I was going to say something disgusting. I won't. If I had, I would have woken you up. If you know what I mean. But I do think you should write that piece and submit it, because, like, what do you have to lose? Truly, the internet hates everything. So you don't worry. Just do it. Submit all of your writing things.
Yes.
The same person wants to know, how did your first book deal come about? Was it from, were you discovered as a blogger, or did you do the regular?
Okay, I'll try to make this long, boring story fast and boring. I had a blog forever. I used to do, in Chicago, we have a thing called like live lit, which is like storytelling. And I used to read at all these live lit shows. And these guys that had an indie press in Chicago were like, Sam, do a book with us. Do a book, let's do it. We'll let you do whatever you want. And I was like, sounds like a lot of work. No. And like for 2 years, every time I would see these dudes at shows, they would like offered me this deal. It was like, we're not going to give you any money. You're probably not going to make any royalties, but we'll let you put whatever you want in a book. And finally they wore me down and I did it. And so that's like the first meaty. And then my now agent, I don't know how he got that little independent book, but he found me and emailed me and said, you know, do you have an agent? And I was like, no. And he's like, do you want one? And I was like, again, no, but sure. And then he was like, well, I'll be your agent. And we had a great time and we talked. And then he was like, so what's your plan for the next book? And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that getting an agent meant that I had to come up with another project. So then I came up with the outline for We're Never Meeting in Real Life, and then we sold it to Vintage. And then, you know, we re-released Meaty to pay the taxes on We're Never Meeting in Real Life, and then I did this book to pay the taxes on the other books. And as long as I need to pay my taxes, I guess that's how long I'll keep trying to get book deals.
Yay for taxes! Finally,
oh my God.
I'm a big fan about taxes.
No one teaches you when you are like free. Like I had an hourly job until a few years ago, and like taxes were a thing that my boss took care of and whatever. And at the beginning of the next year, I would get some of that back. No one teaches you, like when you start freelancing, that the government for real needs their like truly like 40% of what you make. And so I learned that the very hard way. They like came to my house like, hello, did you make money that you didn't pay us for? And I was like, actually, and they're like, yeah, you did. We're taking it out of your account every month. I love it. I love roads and schools. Don't get me wrong. I love for people to have water and places to drive, but I wish I would have gotten a manual.
So what are you writing to pay this tax bill?
Well, I'm working on a novel, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But then, I mean, I'm sure my agent is like, who gives a fuck? Do another one of these. So I'm sure eventually I'll do another thing like this. Same old soup, just reheated, as my dad would say.
I have to share with y'all what happened when you were answering that question, Sam. Mom and a daughter were walking down Broadway here in San Antonio, and the little girl like peered into the door and saw that there were books on the shelves in the kids section, and she literally started to scream. She was like, there's books there, and I'm gonna go inside. And I was like, I don't want to let you in. So that's just, it feels good to my book selling heart to know that
yes.
You're anxiously waiting for us to open the doors.
One day.
Soon, someday.
Yeah.
One day.
Yeah.
One day it'll happen.
Somebody else wants to know, Sam, what your book club is reading.
We just read Weather by Jenny Lawson, and now we're going to read Severance by Ling Ma, which is about not a plague, maybe a pandemic, something that wipes out a lot of people on Earth, and this group of people meet up and try to survive. Again, I am morally opposed to survival during a hardship. So it's probably going to be I was going to say it's going to be a thumbs down for me. I'm sure the book is incredible, but I object to beating the odds. That's not really a thing I'm into.
Jenny, somebody wants to know why you won't say that number.
I just think it's just an unlucky number, and I always have like anything that I could possibly do to avoid anything that's unlucky. And for a while I was like, oh, I'm not gonna let that change my life. And so I started using it, and then something like really bad happened to me, like forever, like decades ago. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe that's a sign. And so now instead I say 12B, or I just say the unlucky number, and it drives my editor crazy, because even when I'm like numbering lists in my book, I don't use that number like ever. And so she always has to go in and be like, okay, let's renumber every fucking one of these. And so, sorry. So,
my birthday is 12B, so.
is it?
Guess I'm never gonna get a card from you.
Okay, so here's the weird thing about it. Whenever things are going really bad for me, like day before yesterday, I had a really, really bad like mental illness day, and things were really bad. And sometimes I think that when that number happens, that it switches everything. So sometimes I will say it if I'm having a really bad time, or if I say it accidentally or something happens, then I'll say it again, because it feels like it cancels that out. So actually that number is fine as long as things are going well. But if things are not going well, that means somebody stopped on that number and they need to fix everything. And by saying it again. So, hi, I'm crazy.
Listen, me too. A different kind, but me too. We're in this together.
My 7-year-old won't say it because he can't.
Oh my.
He just goes 12 and he just, he can't do the stuff, so it's fine. Okay, so I got a new question. Made me pee my pants laughing through. We almost got a fucking dog. And how can I join every single virtual book tour from here? Because there's nothing better than this, and thank God real people exist and I can laugh again, which I thought was a very sweet comment.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, if you want to join I've had some good ones. I usually like post them on Twitter.
Did they record the Allison Roman one? Because I didn't get a chance to watch that one.
I think so. Yes. I will find that out and like get you that. Also, I mean, I do not enjoy being videotaped, but she and I did a talk at the Chicago Humanities Festival, and I interviewed her. And I mean, you want to talk about asking somebody dumb questions. Like, all my questions were like, how do you make so many recipes with cheese? Do you get diarrhea? And I mean, it's clear that people don't ask her stupid ass shit like that. And she was like, oh. And I was like, then we had an argument about hot dog toppings. It was really fun. But yes, you should find that. I mean, it's my favorite thing is to ask someone, especially someone who's like, fancy or elegant, like the dumb stuff I want to know.
Yes. Questions.
All right. So, okay. And then we both had a lot of questions just about y'all asking about your writing process, the two of you. Like, what does it look like? Where do you write? How do you write?
I write, my process has changed since moving into this house where other people live. And I like to write when they go to bed. So I used to be a like daytime writer. I mean, when I was working, I would just like write on my lunch breaks and write on the weekends during the day. But now I do most of my writing in this cozy chair with a pillow on my lap from like 9 p.m. until 3 in the morning. And then like, I sleep till like noon the next day and the cycle begins again.
For me, I have to be struck by the muse, which sounds ridiculous considering the sort of stuff that I write. But it is not unusual for me to go like a week with just hating everything and staring at a blank page. I think like Neil Gaiman always says like, no, you just sit down and you make yourself work. It's just like a job, like everything else. It did not work for me. But typically what happens is I'll have something in my head for a while, and then all of a sudden it'll come to me like, oh, this is the format that I need to write it in. And I will run to my computer, and if I don't get it all out right then it's gone forever. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of me laying on the floor and hating myself, and a lot of me reading, because whenever I feel, and I wrote about this on my blog, whenever I feel like, oh, I have nothing, nothing has ever happened to me. I'm so boring. I have nothing to write about. And I will read stuff like literally I read like Sam's book and David Starris and like a couple of other authors who I'm like, I will read the book, and as I'm reading it, something will stand out, and I'll be like, oh my God, that reminds me of the time that, and I'm having this conversation in my head, and then I'm like, that actually is a good chapter. So it's kind of funny, like quite a few chapters that I have written go back to, you'd never know because they're from totally different subjects, but they go back to something that I read that you wrote, and I was just like, oh, you think that's crazy? Let me tell you a story.
That's great. I love it. My preferred muse is, of course, a deadline, and that deadline usually has to be the next day.
Yeah. I've never hit a deadline. The book that I just turned in that won't come out until next year was due, I want to say 3 years ago, possibly 4 years ago.
Yeah, I feel bad when I turn my things in a couple weeks late. Years.
In fact, that's the reason why I turned in You Are Here, is because I felt so bad about not doing the book that I'm writing now. And I was just like, can I just write a coloring book? And they were like, I mean, I guess so. And then I was like, okay, let's just do that. But there's I did not realize until I got further into it that they're kind of okay with you not, I mean, your agent wants you to because they want to make money, and your editor wants you to turn it in. Yeah. But every time that I was like, not this year, y'all, I'm sorry, you're not going to give me any money and I'm going to be poor, then they're just like, okay, well, that sucks for you, but we love you anyway. Do what you need to do. It's okay.
Man, I'm going to try that. My book was supposed to come out this past fall, and I was like, and they were like, spring, and not a day later. I was like, okay.
Yes.
Okay. And really, and like I had only picked the fall because I was like, I don't want to tour when it's hot. So this is perfect because now I don't have to tour because of germs.
Yes.
It's great.
Good job.
All right, we are
always working out for me.
We are almost out of time. So do you guys have any, I don't want to say last words, but that's what I'm going to say.
Any last words?
This was incredible and fun, and I would do this every day with you if you wanted. I mean, we really have to think of some shit to talk about after a while, but we could do it.
I would get in trouble is the problem, because I'm like, every time I'm like, oh, I want to say this one thing, and I'm like, wait, what? I should not say that. Oh, this is going to be on, and like there's been at least 10 things that I'm like, oh my God, let me tell you, and I'm like, wait, no, this is going to be on the internet. I'm not going to say that out loud. Okay, no, I don't hate anybody. Everything is great all the time, and then no. Oh, you know what? I had a question for you before we go. So I don't remember exactly what it was because I've been drinking, but I just saw like on your Instagram you were signing a book and it said something like don't masturbate too hard, or I can't remember.
Oh no!
No.
Rest
it's better than
masturbate.
Yes. So did somebody ask you to do that, or are those the things that you write?
Though that was a thing that I just wrote. So if I'm doing the signing like through my local indie bookstore. And people can order. Sometimes some people are like, please write a haiku. Others have been like, somebody just asked me to write one of my wife's pie recipes, so I did that. So I get some very specific things, and then some people are like, nothing too dirty. If they don't say anything, I try to write something like nice, like I love you, I hope you're okay. But if they say do whatever you want, then that's usually what I want. It's always like eat food and get a new vibrator is like my quarantine advice.
So good. This is why we'll always be friends.
Yeah, yes. Even if I don't email you back for 6 weeks?
You know what? I'm not going to email you anyway because I'm going to feel like I'm bothering you. So it totally doesn't matter.
Bothering what? I just told you I'm doing all the time, masturbating and eating pimento cheese.
Love it.
Love it. You're the best. Thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it. This is fun.
This was great. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Sam. It's nice to see y'all. And we're turn over to John to wrap us up, I guess.
Yeah, just very quickly wanted to say thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Elizabeth. It's been a really, really fun conversation. We've been laughing a lot behind the scenes. Really fun and entertaining. And thanks to everyone watching. You've been a great audience. Lots of great questions and comments in the chat. And I just want to say, remember, you can find all these authors' wonderful books at the Nowhere Bookshop section of bookshop.org. So thanks, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Strangelings.